Really glad to have you all out today. So what we're going to be doing today is, I said it before, but I didn't mention it again. I didn't mention it when you could hear me. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to record all this for the people who aren't able to make it right now. I'll cut out everybody except for me so that anybody else who misses this meeting couldn't make it, they can get the information out there. So thank you all so very much for joining me on this wonderful Wednesday night to talk to you all about Wahinape Mountain Camp. In my opinion, the greatest place in the world. It is really great up there. We were just up there this last Saturday, and it is looking beautiful right now. So we are putting together a 2021 plan, and I wanted to make sure that we got the word out about what our plans are as soon as we possibly could to you all, because I know that it's really important, especially in this uncertain time, to kind of understand exactly where we're at and what we're planning, because y'all have got a lot of people to coordinate, you got a lot of people to answer to, and so we want to make sure that we're all kind of on the same level all at the same time. So thank you all so very much for joining us here. I've got a short PowerPoint presentation and a little bit of a video, kind of just to show some of the new improvements that we've had, and then after that we'll just kind of jump into questions. So with that said, we will start. All right. So get my computer working here. Come on. Okay. My links here work for myself.
Really fun. Everybody who works here is really nice. The food is amazing.
And everyone gets along well on the hikes and everything else.
The programs here, perfect.
Okay, well, I like to kind of start off things kind of just with, some of the great things that those of you who have been to Wahinape have, remember about some of the amazing things that we're able to do. Those who have not been to Wahinape can kind of get a feel for some of the fun times that we have up in the cool weather. So really for us, coming into 2021, we feel like we've learned a lesson from 2020, and we want to make sure that we are as prepared as possible. That doesn't mean that we want everything to, be the very worst it can, but just like it is with you and your troops going out in a camp, you want to make sure that you're prepared for everything. If it's not cloudy outside, doesn't mean that you're not going to bring tents or tarps. You still want to bring that stuff just in case. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. Before I dive into all the cool improvements and some of the cool programs that we're planning on doing this next year, I really wanted to kind of just jump straight into some of the possible harsh truths that we might have to deal with this next year. We want to make sure that we've got a good camping experience for you all. We want to make sure that Wahinape is there for you to give you and your scouts the program needs you're going to need this next coming summer. We just want to, make sure that we're doing it safe and we're doing it in a way that the state will let. So, like I said, be prepared. It's kind of our catchword in all of this. So a couple things to think about. I know, it's one of those things, why are we talking about this? We're so far out, and it's really not as much fun to, start getting up here and talking about some of the doom and gloom options. But I think that it's, like I said earlier, it's important for you all, especially where you've got so many people to report to, so many other people that are depending on, what you're talking about. Did somebody have a question? Did I hear somebody's voice here? Okay, well, kind of wanted to just go over what we hit this last summer in 2020. So we were really excited for this summer. We had a lot of really cool things planned. We were really geared up for this. We had a couple of new program areas opening, like we were going to be doing some backpacking out Hay Canyon, as well as a bunch of other cool things. And we decided to run a virtual camp instead, mainly after conversations with our state health department. The trick is each state kind of handles everything a little bit differently. New Mexico is a little bit more on the careful side on these things. So some of the restrictions they were asking us to be under if we wanted to be open with scouts and property. One of them was going to be that the week before scouts arrived, they needed to have a COVID test. And then when they arrived at camp, they need to have a COVID test. And if they had a positive test at camp, they'd have to stay there for an additional 2 weeks. And for us, that's kind of a real hard sell for people. You know, you've got a certain amount of time already scheduled off from work, and you can't really, you know, go past that. Really, it's hard for most people. Not to mention the uncomfortableness that it would have caused for scouts, you know, to have that test twice. Not a comfortable test at all. So that's kind of some of the big reasons. There was a lot of other tiny little things that, you know, the health department wanted us to try to do, but they really were trying to push us towards not doing camp. We've been working really well with them throughout the last couple months, just kind of talking about how we're working scouting for the fall in our area and stuff like that. And so I think we've got a pretty decent relationship. And so I'm hoping that one way or another, we'll be able to have some people. We've worked through some of the other pitfalls that some of the other camps have went through this summer. And so I think we've got a decent plan based on, you know, what they've come up with, what CDC's come up with American Camping Association's come up with, all sorts of these things. I think we've got a pretty decent couple options for you here. But I just kind of want to let you know before we dive into all that, you know, some of the roadblocks that have been in our way and that might contribute to some of the things that might change us. So we're not sure exactly what's going to happen, what New Mexico is going to let us do. So we're not sure for 2021, you know, what group sizes they're going to allow to congregate together. Are they going to allow people from outside of New Mexico to come to our camp? Will we have testing and screening on site? Lots of little things like that. We've got a COVID plan put together, and you know, we want to make sure that it's going to be ratified and all that stuff. So it's all really kind of a little in the air right now, but we want to make sure that we've got as solid of a plan for each thing as we can. Okay, so we've got a couple different options, like I said, and we've been trying to model these after people who had successful programs this last summer. So obviously our first option always is to have scouts in camp. And so one of the things that we want to try, if we can, is we want to have 5 weeks of what's called the cohort model. Some of you may have experienced this last summer. Some of you may have not. I'm going to talk about it in just a second about what it means and what it's going to be doing. So that's kind of our first option. Our second option would be if we're limited to New Mexico troops only. And so what we would do is we would hold some in-person camping for the people here in New Mexico. We'd have limited weeks for that. And then we would have some virtual camp as well. We've come up with some really fun ways to make virtual a little bit more exciting than it might normally be, a little bit different than they're going to be experiencing in school. So I think it's something they might like. But like I said, always, if we can, we're always going to try to have kids at camp because it's always better. Option 3 is really if New Mexico says, hey, you guys can't have any customers in your camp. We still want to make sure that there is some kind of program available for your scouts, that they're still, they have something to encourage them to get outside. They can still experience something different. They can gain friendships with some of our staff, stuff like that. So we still think it's important. We want to make sure that they have something available for them. And so we've got that all virtual possible. Really, we would love it to be exactly like 2019. And if we can win the lottery and make it through that far, that's what we're going to try for. But right now, we're kind of leaning towards the way that things have been going with numbers and everything. We're thinking the option 1, 2, and 3 are probably going to be some of our best bets. And then option 5, obviously, is, you know, it's just kind of a variation on 4. We only have New Mexico troops, so it would be probably only a week or 2 of camp. Option 6 is not having camp at all, and that is not something that we even want to really consider. We really want to have something available for you and your scouts. Okay, so cohort model. What the devil does that mean? So what the cohort model is what it means is you arrive in a group and you stay with your group. You know, group sizes vary between different camps and different times, but we are landing on the group of 20, group size of 20 with at least 2 leaders inside that group. And they go together to everything, they camp together, and they don't really interact with any of the other cohorts in camp. So yeah, they stay 20 feet away from all other cohorts, and they go to program areas as a group, like I said. We're going to be limiting the amount of campsites that we've got available, so we can spread out just a little bit more, kind of keep away from each other. So rather than having 375 people in camp like we often do, we're going to be moving down to 200. So we still have a lot of people in camp. It'll still be a nice experience, but we want to make sure that we're safe. So we're going to lower it down to a point where we think that New Mexico will be fine with it. Most of these ones, as you can see from this map here, are going to be over on the east side of camp. And rather than the west side. In the future, what we're planning on doing is we're planning on transitioning the west side of camp to be more of a program area, to kind of have everything focused over in that area, so that y'all don't really have to walk so far between each class. That's kind of our end game for all of that, is to have everything pretty tightly knit together, because that's one of the big things that we've heard. So how would this work? What we'd be doing with cohort model as well to save with contact with other people, rather than go to, you know, have everybody go off into the wind and, you know, you go to your class for an hour every day throughout the entire week. What we'd be doing is you go to your class and you go there in the morning, or you go there in the afternoon, just a 3-hour block. So in the morning it would be 9 to noon, and in the afternoon it would be 2:30 to 5:30. And, you know, so it's, you know, very basic stuff. If they're taking a merit badge for that, then they earn that merit badge in the 3 hours, and they don't have to worry about it. Some things they might have to come back later to the teacher and just kind of pass those off, but that's kind of what we're looking for. One of the big changes, though, that the cohort model has is when your troop goes to an area, they all go together. So rather than have you know, every single person choose which merit badge and which area they would like to go to, just to record so that anybody that went offline can hear this a little bit later. So where did I get cut off at?
Right about the camp limits 200 and starting with the program areas.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yeah, well, like I said, what we're doing is we want to make sure that we're going to be able to continue to run with New Mexico's rules. And so one of the things that has been encouraged is that we move towards a way of doing program that we're going to be in contact with less people. So what we're planning on doing is having all of the troop move together as a cohort to each individual area. And when they head to each individual area, there's going to be limited offerings at each particular area, but there'll still be some options there. So, you know, Troop 446, you know, on Monday morning, they're heading over to the COPE course, and they're all doing COPE that morning. There's not any merit badges there, so that's not really a great option. So in the afternoon, they would head off and they'd go over to nature, and they have the option of going to, say, you know, soil and water conservation and forestry. And the kids are able to pick between those two. We want to still have something available so that people can have some choice in the matter, so they can be able to, you know, pick which kind of classes they want to have, and not be limited just to one thing. We also are looking into having some of these options just be experience-based, just in case some people already have that merit badge. We want to have some kind of cool experiences that, you know, they're not going to be able to have normally. Something really epic and cool, and that's kind of what we're looking for. So rather than have everybody join up and meet like we normally would for classes, normally, you know, they meet for an hour, they go to the next class, and they just go to the same classes every day. This would be, you know, you meet for a class in the morning for 3 hours, and then you meet in the class, a different class for 3 hours in the afternoon, and you'd be able to complete, if you're doing a merit badge, you'll be able to complete it in that time. And you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the week. So it's a little bit different, but we're trying to find ways to, you know, get as much freedom in here as we possibly can, while at the same time being able to propose something that the state will probably be more willing to let us go through with. So that's kind of how the cohort system would work. Like I said, it's a little bit different than we've normally done. We would prefer it to be just like 2019, just to have everything just brand new and normal. Okay, sorry, I see that there's some chat and I'm trying to figure out how to get to it. Okay, So does anybody have any questions about that? It's kind of a weird system, like I said.
What if your troop's not 20 people?
So if your troop is not 20 people, we're just going to have a little bit less people in your campsite at that time then. So it's really groups of 20 or less. We're not grouping people together from different cities and anything like that. It's just a good way to be a little more transmissible, so we don't want to do that. If you have more, what we'll end up doing is we'll just put you into nearby campsites. So if you have 40, we'll put 20 here, we'll put 20 there.
So would
question.
So would the, make sure I understand the cohort. So would your troop, right, your cohort, are they going to all work on the exact same merit badges, or is there a few choices amongst those choices, for each morning or afternoon session?
So we are planning on having a couple different options available. So when you go to an area, you have, one or two options to choose from because, some people have different things and they need different things. So we still want to have choice in there like that, but it's going to be less choice than normal. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
What would you suggest? I have a question. What would you suggest if we have a couple scouts that want to go, but they will have already earned their Eagle, but still want to come to camp? Do you have anything that they could do?
Yes. So that's one of the reasons why we don't have an exact list. Sorry, I'm not sure what's happening with the internet over here. Working on my cell phone right now, and it's not even doing well. So to your question, we don't have an exact list of merit badges for each area right now, but one of the things that we are leaning towards is having a merit badge and then having an experience. So if you've got somebody who's already got their Eagle and they're just looking to have some crazy experience, we're going to try to have a little bit different for them to be able to do. We're also going to add in areas, that don't involve merit badges at all. Things like ATV and COPE and our Mountain Man program. So it should make, we want to make it so it's good for both older scouts and younger scouts.
Did you mention how many days camp will be? I might have missed that one as well.
So we are sticking with week long. So just be the same basic kind of schedule. So people would be showing up on Sunday and leaving on Saturday.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. So another thing to consider with all of this that I haven't mentioned in my rantings yet is that we are putting together a timeline for all this, just an internal timeline. Sometimes the state of New Mexico changes that timeline and they have different thoughts than we do, but we want to make sure that we keep everybody up to date who signed up for our camp. And so what we're going to be doing is on November 1st, we're going to be putting out a full program schedule for all of our top options. And so you can know exactly what we're going to be offering, how the schedule is going to work, and then details of how camp's going to work. So it's going to be like 3 leaders guides in one. So it might be a little bit bigger than normal, but you'll have all the options available out there. On December 1st, we're going to be meeting with a committee that includes some of our local volunteers as well as health professionals to kind of give us a checkpoint to see, where we're at, just so we can kind of, a feel for the pulse, and then we'll kind of let everybody know exactly what's happening. Just send out an email. Just kind of, we're planning on making our final decision. Same thing as December. We're going to have health officials. We're going to have a bunch of people meeting together, and we're going to make a final determination on what our summer program is going to be out of those options. It might end up changing in May. That we can't exactly control what the health department's going to say. If they decide June 1st that we have to change gears, we have to change gears. But I'd rather be prepared, and I'd rather give you guys the information that we can as much as we can. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Any other questions, comments, anything?
Greg, if you have people that are all going to COPE or going to ATV, but normally those are age restricted, will there be other things there for the younger people, or will they just get to still take part in those activities?
The things that I'm glad you brought up. The things that actually require age limits are actual national rules, and so we can't really bend those very much. And so we're going to have activities that are like them. They're going to be unique activities, and that'll be for them, but they will be just for the different age group. We have another question on the chat. If anybody has any questions at any point during all of this, look at the parents and anybody has some questions, you can feel free to give me a call. Our office number is 575-622-3461. And my email is gregory.anderson@scout.org. So yeah, anytime you want to get a hold of me, love to answer your questions. Love to kind of let you know exactly where we're at. As you can kind of tell, we don't have 100% of a plan, but I really wanted to let you know exactly what our game plan is right now and kind of the timeline. Any other questions, comments, anything?
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. I think that, this might be a little bit weird of a summer, but I think this is be a lot of fun for the kids who are able to get out. It should just be a ton of fun. We've missed having kids up in the mountains. It's just been way too quiet at camp. Well, if anybody has any other questions, feel free to, like I said, give me a call. You can leave a message or shoot me an email. In fact, I'll give you my cell phone as well, which is 435-799-5308. Just looking to help you guys any way you can. You guys are on the fence and you need someone to try to talk you into it, just let me know, and I will try to do that because we'd love to have you at camp.
Hey, Greg, I have one quick question for you.
All right.
Do we know,
Yeah.
and I know it's real hard to understand right now what's going on and where we'll be at that time, but do we know when the decision on what model of the 5 is going to be the one to go with?
So we are planning on making our final decision on March 1st. We feel like we're going to have enough of a pulse on where New Mexico is going to be and if they're going to make any changes by that point. There might be something drastic happen that might make us change our plans, but we're pretty sure that March 1st is something we can stick with.
Great, thank you.
All right, well, hey, thank you all so very much for joining us here, especially with all the technical difficulties. But we are, like I said, we are super excited to have you all, and hope to hear from you all again. And y'all have a great night.
Thank you.